the special properties of the rhombus that come into play are to do with the fact that rhombus has a property that it has diagonals perpendicular to each other, diagonals also being the angular bisectors and also bisecting each other. So all these properties of the rhombus become important. So magnitude of A is equal to magnitude of B. So that is equal to A, let's say. In the case of the rhombus, so then the important properties that come into play are that the diagonals are perpendicular to each other, okay, and the diagonals also bisect the angles. So this angle becomes equal to this angle, and this angle becomes equal to this angle. So based on this, we saw we have the special formula that, including the special properties, that A plus B is perpendicular to A minus B, okay, and alpha is equal to theta by 2, beta is equal to 90 degrees minus theta by 2, and we have the formula that magnitude of A plus B becomes 2A cos theta by 2, and magnitude of A minus B becomes 2A sin theta by 2. So these are the important properties to remember as special cases of the parallelogram law. Okay. So this you have written down yesterday and we've seen, but just as a recap. Yes. So you can also see that as as that's correct, home. So if you overlap the case of the rectangle and the rhombus, you also have another case where both these properties are true. That magnitude of A is equal to magnitude of B, and along with that, theta is also equal to 90 degrees. So in that case, your parallelogram is the ultra special case of the square. So now the square has this interesting properties that mod of A plus B becomes equal to mod of A minus B, becomes equal to root 2A, okay, alpha becomes equal to beta, becomes equal to 90 by 2 or 45 degrees, okay, and in that also you have the property that A plus B is perpendicular to A minus B. So that is the next thing you can see here, that the overlap of these two will result in this case. These are equal also, but they are perpendicular also. So in that case, you can see that the properties we have written for the case 1 and the properties we have written for case 2, they get overlapped. So now this satisfies all these properties, the properties of the rectangle as well as the properties of the rhombus. Okay. Like this. So this is also another special case. Okay, so this is based on that. Now we have done a couple of questions yesterday and we'll continue with working some questions. But before that, we will see some more usefulness of parallelogram law, and that is how it helps us understand the inequalities. Okay. So also the inequalities related to the magnitude of the sum or the difference can also be interpreted from parallelogram law, and that's very easy to understand. So let us see three cases of vector parallelograms. One is the case where the just a moment, the two vectors we are considering are perpendicular to each other. The case we just saw. Okay. So in this case, just geometrically, when we are observing how the parallelogram law looks, or the particular parallelogram figure looks, it's a rectangle. So this is how that looks. Now if we were to compare this with a situation where, so this is what theta was 90 degrees. Okay, so we had mod of a plus b is equal to mod of a minus b is equal to root of a square plus b square. It's very easy to visualize from this. You don't have to apply any formula and all that. Okay. Now, as opposed to this, next let us visualize the situation of something where the angle between the two vectors is obtuse. Yesterday we were discussing some questions based on this from worksheet 4. So now let's visualize those problems instead of doing them by algebra like we had done yesterday. Now let us say the two vectors have same magnitude in both the diagrams A and B. But in one case the angle between them, as you can see in the second case, is obtuse. Okay, so theta is greater than 90 degrees, less than 180 degrees. So the moment you draw a vector like this, the parallelogram like this, if you compare it with the rectangle, now you can see that it has got bent in such a way that this diagonal, the primary one, has got smaller. So in this case, definitely A plus B, this diagonal, has become smaller than it was in this case. Okay, so you can see immediately that mod of A plus B will become less than root of A square plus B square whenever this condition is satisfied, that the angle is obtuse. Okay. You don't need to think in terms of cos theta and all that. You can just visualize the diagram and understand. And similarly, the second diagonal, this one has got elongated. Now just imagine you bent this rectangle into a shape like this. So ये जो secondary diagonal है वो stretch हो जाएगा और जो primary diagonal है वो थोड़ा crush हो जाएगा. So accordingly you can see that the moment this happens, the magnitude of the difference becomes greater than what it was over here. It becomes greater than root of a square plus b square. And as a consequence of that, you can see that E plus B has a magnitude which is less than E minus B whenever theta is obtuse. Okay. Whereas on the other hand, if we are to compare with a situation where theta is acute, so that would be now from this rectangle that we drawn earlier, you change this angle from 90 to an acute angle. So you can see that the rectangle becomes a parallelogram of this type. Now, if you compare these two parallelograms, it's easy to understand that now the primary diagonal has got stretched. ये वाला diagonal, the sum diagonal, the one from the origin to the opposite side, that has become longer. So in this, theta is less than 90 degrees, greater than 0. Okay, so it's an acute angle case. Okay. So in this case, now you can see that this diagonal here, which represents the sum. So if we just compare this geometrically to the middle case, this is now longer. So you can see that mod a plus b has become greater than root of a square plus b square. Whereas on the other hand, the secondary diagonal, this has got shortened. So magnitude of a minus b is less than root of a square plus b square, and from that we have that a plus b is actually greater than a minus b's magnitude. So all these become important properties of the situation where the angle is acute. These become important properties of the situation where the angle is obtuse, and this is the unique case where the angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so these theorems, I mean these inequalities, become useful while doing those logical type of questions. Now we'll see more examples today also, but yesterday we saw some in worksheet 4. So just make a note of this. So these are the inequalities related to a plus b and a minus b. And of course, other than this, we also have the inequalities that overall this is always less than equal to a plus b and greater than equal to the difference of a minus b for all theta, no, theta between 0 and 180, not taking any special cases. Okay, this is the general inequality. Okay, where this occurs for theta equal to 0 and this occurs for theta equal to 180 degrees. This is the maximum possible value of mod a plus b. This is the minimum possible value of mod a plus b. Okay, but other than this general inequality, if we are to specifically apply the condition of acute angle or obtuse angle, then additionally these inequalities come into play. The three inequalities: the comparison of mod a plus b with root of a square plus b square, the comparison of mod a minus b with root of a square plus b square, and also the comparison between mod a plus b and mod a minus b. So the comparison also depends on whether the angle is 90 degrees, obtuse or acute. And this is where again this helps a lot, because you can just visualize the situation and remember the inequality without getting into the formula. Okay, so hope you have understood this, all of you. Make a note of this quickly. Yes, we will discuss, examples also, but first write down the inequalities. Okay. Now, of course, you can always understand these inequalities from the formula also. You know the formula of mod a plus b is root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. So now in this you can see that cos theta becomes negative when theta is obtuse. cos theta becomes 0 when theta is 90 degrees, and cos theta is positive when theta is acute. Okay, so you can also understand these inequalities by this mathematical formula. But as a shortcut, it is easy to remember it on the basis of the visualization of the parallelogram. Okay, so let's look at some more examples. Okay, just a minute. We will make this case. Okay. 1 by root 3. Okay. Work this out quickly. Meantime, I'll give you another question. Just try this out, people. Yeah, so anybody got the answer to the first and second question? Please send it to me on the message. Okay, that's correct, Om Shinde. And what about the first one? Work out the answer to the first one. Okay, so let's work out both of these. So the first one, you can just understand in the first one that a plus b is perpendicular to a minus b, means that magnitude of a is equal to magnitude of b, and this will be 2a cos theta by 2, and this will be 2a sin theta by 2. So from these two equations you can see that theta by 2 will come out to be 60 degrees. Okay, because this information is given to us. Substitute this here. So theta is equal to 120 degrees. Okay, so this is 1 is to 1. The angle between them is 120 degrees. Okay, so this is just visualizing this as a rhombus. Diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, now before we come to the second question, I'll also show you that there's an alternate way of doing the first question. So alternately we can also do it by Okay, so thanks for being online, student. Sorry, my internet connection was down for a few minutes. Anyway, so now that we're back online, so first of all, I'll just finish with this question, these couple of questions, then we'll move on to the next thing. Yeah, so as I was telling you, there is another way of doing this question. This first question. So if I did not use the shortcut of the rhombus method, then I would have used this, that use component algebra, that assume that the vector a plus b is along the x-axis. So automatically vector a minus b being perpendicular to it is along the y-axis. Okay, and y should be equal to root 3x. Why? Because given to us that the magnitude of, so this is given to us that the magnitude of a plus b is 1 by root 3 times the magnitude of a minus b. Okay, so from that statement we can say this. Okay, so we have a plus b is xi cap and a minus b is root 3x j cap. So now you can see from this we can find out everything we require. So for example, you can see that if you add the two equations, you will get that 2a is equal to xi cap plus root 3x j cap, or a is equal to x by 2 I cap plus root 3x by 2 j cap. So from this you can understand that vector A, okay, has a magnitude of x and is at theta equal to 60 degrees with respect to x axis. Now similarly, one more thing you can do is you can subtract the two equations, equation 1 minus equation 2. So if you subtract, you will get 2b is equal to xi cap minus root 3 j cap. So you will get the vector b as x by 2 I cap minus root 3 x by 2 j cap. Okay, so now you can understand from this. Okay, so this will tell me that the vector b also has a magnitude of x only, and it is at minus 60 degrees with respect to the x axis. Okay, so when we visualize this, if this is our xy plane, vector E will be looking like this. It's at an angle of 60 degrees, and vector B will be looking like this. It's at an angle of minus 60 degrees. Okay, so you can see, and both of them are having magnitude x. So from this we can conclude that magnitude of A is equal to magnitude of B equal to x. So E is to B is 1, and the angle between A and B is 120 degrees. Okay, so this is also a workable method here, but again it shows you that, if you use the rhombus shortcut, it's very fast, whereas if you use any other method like the formula based method of triangle law, or you use the component algebra as I've done here, comparatively the question is taking more steps to solve. Hence the advantage of the case of the rhombus as a special case of the parallelogram law. Okay, so I'll just leave you with a moment to understand this second method fully, and then we'll discuss the other question. Okay, so hope this is clear. Please let me know if there's any doubts in this second method. Okay, so is this clear to all of you? Okay, good. Now let's come to the second question. So the second question was this one. So see what is happening here. Magnitude of P is 20, magnitude of Q is 15, and it is given to us that, okay, now notice that 25 is square root of 20 square plus 15 square, or square root of P square plus Q square. So the moment we are saying that magnitude of P plus Q is less than 25, what we mean to say is that in terms of individual magnitudes, it's less than root of P square plus Q square. So if you remember your inequalities, you'll realize that it's this kind of a situation. It must be an obtuse angle. Okay, theta must be greater than 90, or obtuse, or cos theta should be a negative quantity. So the moment you understand that that is the case, so you can see that this will be wrong, this will be correct. Okay, because the moment theta is obtuse, mod of P minus Q becomes greater than root of P square plus Q square, and therefore mod of P minus Q is greater than mod of P plus Q. Okay, so this statement is correct, that one is wrong, and the angle between them is obtuse. Okay. So this is the way of doing it, by just remembering the inequality. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to understand that mod of P plus Q is root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Now this is less than 25. Okay. So that means P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta is less than 25 square. So 20 square plus 15 square plus this 2PQ cos theta is less than 25 square. So this will show you that cos theta is less than 0. So once you know cos theta is less than 0, then you will come to this conclusion. Okay, but all this extra working you can skip by just directly visualizing that the moment you are having this condition, you just visualize the parallelogram is of this type. This diagonal is the shorter one, this diagonal is the longer one. Have you understood this, people? Okay, so this we are doing here as the direct application of this theorem over here. We're just doing it as direct application of this part, that if mod of a plus b is less than root of a square plus b square, it's an obtuse angle. So the other inequalities are like this. Okay, yeah, Hitanshu, I'll explain the first one again. Okay, so see, in the first one, the given condition to us is that a plus b is perpendicular to a minus b. So what does that mean in terms of this thing? It's a case where diagonals are perpendicular in terms of the parallelogram. So what kind of parallelogram has perpendicular diagonals? Only a rhombus. So that means the magnitudes of a and b must be equal. And for the rhombus, we have the special formula that mod of a plus b is 2a cos theta by 2, mod of a minus b is 2a sin theta by 2. So now divide equation 2 by equation 1. and you will get this relation, the ratio of a plus b and a minus b. Understood now? So just divide these two equations, so you'll get mod of a plus b upon mod of a minus b is cot theta by 2. Now from here, that ratio is what, 1 by root 3. So cot theta by 2 is 1 by root 3. That means theta by 2 is how much? Is 60 degrees. So this is coming from this equation 1 divided by equation 2, showing you that cot theta by 2 is 1 by root 3. So that is showing you that theta by 2 is 60. अंडरस्टूड ना? कॉट ये दोनों इक्वेशन को डिवाइड किया ना, 1 को 2 से डिवाइड किया तो 1 बाई रूट 3 आएगा, बट राइट हैंड साइड में क्या आएगा? कॉट थीटा बाई 2, कॉस बाई साइन. और 2 को 1 से डिवाइड करोगे तो tan थीटा बाई 2 इज रूट 3. सो आइदर वे दैट इज द मेथड. Okay, okay, okay. So now next thing we'll do today is, since we had a lecture yesterday only, so there was no time for another worksheet in between. So we will do a class exercise today. Okay. So I'm going to put up some questions for you to try and solve yourself. The next worksheet. Okay. Anyway, it's a revision worksheet before we come to products of vectors. Okay. So just try out these some of these questions in class itself today. So from the first page, okay, let's pick out a couple of questions you'll solve first. So uh, do the questions that I'm marking out for you. So do the first question. Just a moment. So do the first question and do the fourth question to start with. Start with these two questions, first and fourth. So please send me the answers of question 1 and 4. Okay. Should not take more than a couple of minutes for you to try this out. Okay, so people, I'm just putting up the answers. So this will be this. This will also be this. Let me just explain these two questions for those who haven't got it yet. And those of you who have understood these two questions or got the answers, try out the fifth question next. Okay. So in the first question, what was happening is that the vector was I cap minus root 3 j cap, something like this. Yeah. So you can see that the moment your vector is like this, you can see that x component is positive, y component is negative. So that means theta is in fourth quadrant. Okay. And theta is tan inverse of minus root 3, or tan theta is minus root 3. Okay. And theta is in fourth quadrant. So you know that tan 60 is root 3. Therefore, tan of 300 degrees, or that's the same thing as tan of minus 60 degrees, is minus root 3. So your theta is becoming minus 60, or the same thing as 300. So it can, there are two ways we can express this angle in the fourth quadrant. We can express it as 300 degrees or minus 60 degrees. Now out of this, only this is given in the answer, so this becomes the correct answer. Okay, Yuvraj, I'll verify the answer, thanks. Yes, obviously you can see that that's a special case of. Okay, so first question is understood. Okay, it will be option B, sorry, not option A. So this will be option B. Okay, now let's come to fourth question. So in this you have this statement. Okay, so this is pretty standard. A plus B plus C mod is 0, that means C is minus of A plus B. That means mod C is equal to mod of A plus B. Okay, and this given this, and the angle is given 120. So it is root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos 120. So use the fact that cos 120 is minus cos 60 or minus half. So you'll get this as 10. Okay, so first and fourth question are clear, I hope, to all of you. Okay. Now fifth question is again direct inequality based question. You can see that mod of A plus B is greater than mod of A minus B, means that theta is acute. So cos theta is positive. So then your mod of A plus B is greater than root of A square plus B square, while mod of A minus B is less than root of A square plus B square. So overall this is the case. Okay. So theta is positive means that, I mean, cos theta is positive means that theta is acute. This is the case. Okay, so hope these three questions are clear to all of you. First, fourth, and fifth. Okay, good. Now let's move on to some more questions. So next up, what you do here, this page you do question number 6, question number 8, and question number 9. Try these three questions. Okay, people, I'm giving you the answers now. So this first one, so answer will be A. Yeah. Then in this you can see that in fact the angle will be 180 degrees. Okay. So the only thing that fits, oh sorry, the angle will be 0. My mistake. It's A minus B, na? So what is happening in the eighth one is that magnitude of A minus B is actually the difference of the two vectors. Okay. So this basically means that cos theta is equal to 1 or theta is equal to 0. So this will be the answer. And this the angle will be 37. Okay, so let's understand the logic of each one of these. So in this, the easiest way to understand is that visualize a vector parallelogram, sorry, or a vector triangle. So if this is the vector P, the vector Q will have to look something like this, where this is the angle theta, because it is given to us that the resultant of P and Q, or the sum of P and Q, is perpendicular. Okay, and they are in the ratio 3 is to 5. So if this is some 3x, this is 5x. Okay, so now you can understand if this internal angle is some beta, uh, cos beta is 3 by 5. So beta is 53 degrees. So therefore, theta is going to be how much? It's going to be 180 minus beta. So it's going to be 127 degrees. In this, I've already given you the explanation. Okay, now ninth question. The easy way of doing the ninth question is you first just draw these two vectors A and B in the xy plane. So the vector A, which is 12 I cap plus 16 j cap, this is at tan inverse of 16 by 12, or 4 by 3, or 53 degrees with respect to x axis. Okay. So our vector A is something like this. This angle is 53 degrees. Okay. On the other hand, our second vector, this one B, B is just along the y axis. Okay. So now the angle between these two is this angle. So that theta you can see is 37 degrees. So that's why this is the correct answer. Okay, so hope this question is also clear. Okay, good. So let's discuss few more. Okay, let's come to these integer answer type questions now. So in this, you try out questions 11, 12, 13 and 15. Yeah, Yuvraj, your answer is correct. So now you calculate magnitude of that in 12, so it will become 5. Okay. 15, anybody got the answer yet? Yeah, Hitanshu, you got the answer 4. Okay, that's correct. Okay, so let's understand these questions briefly. So the 11th one, you can do in this similar manner like we had solved one question a while back. A plus B is given to us as 5 I cap. Let's say that's equation 1. And A minus B is given to us as 5 root 3 J cap. Say that's equation 2. So do equation 1 plus 2 now. So you get 2A is equal to 5 I cap plus 5 root 3 J cap. So that means vector A itself is 5 by 2 I cap plus 5 root 3 by 2 J cap. So magnitude of A, which you can easily show to be 5. So that's your explanation of question 11. Okay. Now 12 is very simple actually. In 12 you have to just understand that f1 plus f2 plus f3, the resultant is 0. So that again means that f3 is negative times the sum of f1 plus f2. Now substitute these values of f1 and f2 given. So you'll see that f3 as a vector quantity will become negative of 12 minus 8, so that's 4 I cap. Okay, and minus 16 plus 13, so that's plus 3. Sorry, that's minus 3 J cap. So the vector f3 is minus 4 I cap plus 3 J cap. So its magnitude, so that is 5. So that is your 12th question. Yeah, question 13 I'll explain. I haven't done it yet. I'll explain. I've just given the answer. Okay. So are you clear with 11 and 12, everybody? Hitanshu, you also? Okay. Okay. So let's come to question 13 next. So see, 13, it's a sort of three-dimensional problem. Okay. Let's understand this, that F1 and F2 are in a horizontal plane. Okay. Such that their magnitudes are equal to 4 each, and the angle between them is 60 degrees. Okay. So suppose the resultant of F1 and F2 I'm writing as a vector R. So what will R be? R will have a magnitude of, okay, this, or you can use the, so from this you'll see it is 4 root 3, or you can use that theorem that it is 2 into A into cos theta by 2, that rhombus theorem. So it's 8 cos 30, so that's also the same 4 root 3. Okay, so now this resultant R, it is of magnitude 4 root 3 and is in the horizontal plane. This is the important thing, it's lying in the horizontal plane. No. So if you visualize now, suppose your F1 was like this and F2 was like this. Okay, so suppose we take our x and y axis like this over here. Okay. So in this, the xy plane is the horizontal plane. No? So in this, F3 will also lie somewhere in this plane only. No? Sorry, a resultant of F1 and F2, this one, will also lie in the xy plane only. It's in the horizontal plane. Okay. Now what about F3? F3 is along vertical. Okay. So it is perpendicular to this resultant. So make sure this statement is correct and you've understood this. This is very critical. Why should F3 be perpendicular to R? Because where is R lying? The vector R is in the horizontal plane. And where is the vector F3? It is along the vertical. Understanding? So what is the relationship between F3 and R? They are perpendicular to each other. You understood this point? So the angle between R and F3 is how much? It's 90 degrees. So that is what we'll use to finally find the resultant. Is this point clear? Okay. So now with this, you can understand that R has a magnitude of 4 root 3. F3 has a magnitude of 4, and R is perpendicular to F3. Okay. So now I want to find out F1 plus F2 plus F3. इसका मुझे magnitude निकालना है. So that is the same thing as F1 plus F2, the whole thing plus F3. Okay. So that is nothing but R plus F3. So I want to find out this. Okay. And this is a condition on them, that they are perpendicular. So magnitude of R plus F3, because they are perpendicular vectors, will be square root of r's magnitude square plus f3's magnitude square. Is this clear to all of you? Okay, so that will become 8. So that is why the answer to this question is 8. Okay, so you have to just visualize this a little. So imagine this is a horizontal table. So this is a horizontal plane or horizontal surface. Okay, so then this is a vertical axis which cuts it perpendicularly. So now in this diagram, what is happening? Our vector r, which is the sum of f1 and f2, would be lying somewhere in this plane. R would be somewhere in this plane, and f3 is along the vertical. So they are perpendicular to each other. So that is the explanation of this. Okay. And the last one is directly formula based. You can see that two vectors of 3 and 5 at an angle of 53 degrees. So mod of a minus b, you can just directly use this formula. Root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos 53. Okay, so that will become 9 plus 25 minus 18. So 4. Okay, because cos 53 you will substitute as 3 by 5. That's correct, Hitanshu. Okay, so people, hope this is clear to all of you. Okay, so with this we conclude today's lecture. I'll be sending you this worksheet number 5 also, the one we have discussed few questions from today. So complete this worksheet and also complete worksheet 4. And if anything is pending from before, like Hitanshu, for you couple of questions are pending in worksheet 3, just send me a message separately on WhatsApp with those questions. I will give you some hints and explanation. If anything is pending from worksheet 3 and 4, please send me a WhatsApp message with either a picture of the question or the question number. Okay, and yeah, I'll be sending the notes, don't worry. It takes a bit of time to upload the video and the notes. So the video uploading of the lecture on YouTube and the notes PDF formation and all that, I'll send it by today or latest by tomorrow. Okay, for both the lectures. So next week onwards, we will be starting with three-dimensional vectors, x, y, z coordinate system, not just x, y. And from there, we will also look at dot product and cross product. Okay. So we are coming towards the end of vectors. Now the last phase where we'll be discussing two new types of operations, dot product and cross product. So you can read ahead a little bit from your module also if you like. Okay. And also this is a good time to start winding up a lot of questions from exercise 1. So in your module from exercise 1, you can attempt the first 20 questions. Okay, so in addition to this worksheet number 5, which I'm going to send, the one we have been doing some questions from today, also do from module exercise 1 questions 1 to 20. Try these out, plus of course worksheet 5 and anything pending from 3 and 4 before. And also start submitting your worksheets in the Google Drive. Okay, so at least worksheet 3 and 4, make sure that you're submitting in the Google Drive by end of this week. Okay, if you haven't done so already. Okay, people, so that's it for today's session. Okay, and next week we'll continue with this.